Okay, the rules are very simple, so pay attention. The task: blitz through as many statements in 30 minutes. The panel will give their opinions on each statement, but they will have to work together to agree or disagree on the statements before moving on to the next. The panel for episode 5. From Long Island, the man of 1,000 PCs, Johnny Tancredi. From Brantford, Ontario, Canada, the Wizard, Graeme Reed. From the Buckeye State, the Liberator, Travis Fowler. Welcome to the run-in.
Man, that's tough. Like, I really liked Topps Chrome. Prism's good, but I really like Select. I'm gonna say no. I don't think it's the best one. I like Select because we get multiple cards of the same person in the set, different shots, vertical, horizontal, some inserts thrown in there. But I mean, it's a slight no, not by much, but I think personally that Select beats out Chrome.
I think I'm going to have to agree with Travis there. I would say that Select is a better product and probably my favorite product that's come out in wrestling cards. I mean, I think for me it was a bit tie between Chrome and Finest, maybe. I mean, I would even maybe put Finest above Chrome in terms of Topps within itself, just because of the SPs that they would do, kind of threw ahead of Topps Chrome in a way. They both had on-card auto, so it was a similar product. But I would maybe even give Finest the edge over Chrome there. But I think Select is probably the best and my favorite wrestling product that's come out. I think Panini did an amazing job with the photography, the card stock, the autos and the high-end inserts, the numbering, so you weren't reliant on an autographed card to get your value in a box. You can always hope for, a lower numbered card, gold out of 10 or something like that. The checklist, the mix between veterans and current guys and rookies. I just think it was a perfect product. And yeah, I would agree with Travis that I don't think Chrome would be the best. I think Select is.
I'm going to agree. I'm agreeing for the most part with everybody here that I don't think Chrome is the best. Pretty stellar set, but I also agree with Johnny. I kind of like Finest a little bit more than Chrome myself. I like Finest a lot more. When I look at my collection, I have a lot more Finest than Chrome happening. Although there is some really great Chrome inserts, like the Five Timers Club, I think is one of the best insert sets that's probably ever come out. Does it make the set the best? I don't think so. I kind of agree. I don't agree, though, that Select is maybe the best. Because personally, I've been recently redocumenting my entire PC. Follow me at Wrestling Card Wizard. It's a great exercise, though, to recheck out your cards and see where you're at in your collection and everything. Because some of us have been going hard at just getting mail days, doing trades, and you don't really put all the cards out, look at what you have. And I started to realize I have tons of Revolution. And I started to think maybe Revolution happens to be low-key my secret favorite set that's come out in a long time. And I just look at all the cards I have, and I kind of really like the design of it. It has the same kind of Select feel and everything. But I think for me personally, just to add in an additional argument here, I kind of think Revolution. But then also, there's like with Allure coming out, that has become one of my new favorite sets if we're talking Chrome sets or wrestling sets. And I think that one was really underrated and highly controversial when it was coming out. People hated kind of some of the designs, but now that it's out, people really like this set. It's really sharp. It's cool to collect those color waves. So I'm not sure. I lean towards Revolution. I know that wasn't the question. I don't think it's Chrome, but I'm going to say Revolution.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all obviously in conjunction that it's not Topps Chrome. While I think Topps Chrome is a great product and a great staple within the Topps world of cards, for me and obviously for Travis too, we kind of went the Select route. Graeme kind of went, a couple of different routes, but we've all kind of, yeah. I mean, I think that's the fair statement is that no, it is not the best.
However, we challenge you, Topps, for that next Chrome set. Bring it.
I would definitely welcome that.
And finest, my bad. And hey, while we're at it, let's bring out Stadium Club. That was my favorite part of Slam Attacks. So Tops, we know you're watching. Bring out some Stadium Club.
Would
I
love
can
that.
kind of feel Chris watching this episode being like, why did no one talk about Topps Chrome Slam?
Slam Attacks.
Yeah.
It's a strong number. It's 1A, 1B, Slam Attacks.
So that's a tough one. I think U.S. collectors recognize the UK releases. I've opened UK releases. I think they've had some cool releases in the past. Topps put out a couple over in the last year or so that they had the license that were very cool. Like the Supers, I think it was Topps WWE Superstars, and they did a couple of cool things. They had a couple of cool ideas. Obviously, Chris's favorite, Topps Chrome Slam. That's another one that I think. I mean, in terms of card stock and just presentation, it was a very cool product. I think where I struggle with the UK stuff is that it's not in traditional, US American format in terms of cards. So if you look at like a wrestling card, Topps Chrome or Topps Finest or whatever, even, Panini Upper Deck, on the backs of the cards will traditionally kind of be the same. You get a little bit of a bio, you'll get, height, weight, kind of, they try to keep it more towards a traditional sports card in the sense of like a baseball card, you'll get stats and stuff like that. Wrestling, obviously a little different. There's no stats, but they'll try to keep it more traditional. Whereas in the UK stuff, you'll get a lot of just like backs with designs on it or nothing really there, or just kind of like maybe a statement of who the person is, but that's really it. It's more of a plain card back. And obviously it has, more of like a TCG type feel to me, at least. Like Topps Chrome Slam, you always had, obviously it is a game, so, and then with like the Panini stickers and stuff like that UK did in the past, to me, it's a sticker, so it's collectible. It may be cool. And if it's by a legitimate company, then it's legit, but it may not be my cup of tea. So
I don't totally know if you agreed with it or disagreed there. I get what you're kind of saying. I think for me, as the Canadian on today's show, part of the Commonwealth a little bit, being the peaceful person here, I'm going to say it's a licensed product, so it all counts, right? It all counts, especially too when we look at products outside of the US, just over the border in Canada. There's been a lot of Canadian exclusive releases in wrestling cards that people go nuts over. Some of those, the 2016 Topps had the exclusive autograph releases in it and everything, like the blaster packs. And then also, it would be amazing if wrestling cards got so big that Tim Hortons started issuing wrestling trading cards. Because I know not everyone gets to experience this, but in Canada, Tim Hortons, you can get a pack of hockey cards with your coffee during different parts of the year. And that's like a Canadian exclusive kind of thing. So I think, we got to look at... And also, I mean, when we look at wrestling cards, they're like BBM and all these other trading cards too that people really love to collect and things like that. So I think, just because it's outside the US, it's a licensed product, it's still meaningful, counts.
I think collectors, with the invention of the internet and eBay and social media, it used to be whatever's in America, that's it. Like OPG and Leaf at the time, way back in the day, were Canadian exclusive. You could only get OPG and Leaf in Canada. And then even to the point, like, even on the wrestling side, Johnny, you talk about it on the CFP. What's the rookie card? Do some American collectors consider BBM cards a rookie card because it's not? I mean, it's an official release, but it's not. It's got every federation in it. So, but I think as time has gone on and more people have seen, holy cow, there's more than Topps, Donruss, Fleer, Upper Deck. What is BBM? That's how I got involved. And so then you you have the niche high end or high volume collectors that's what they PC anything, BBM or, along those lines, Topps, Chrome Slam Attack, just because it's a good set. But I think we've gone, evolved as collectors to grow out of and see that there is more. Now, are there still some of those hanger-oners? Yeah, absolutely. And, there'll always be those. But I think in general, speaking current day, collectors now are more open to anything outside of a US release. Those are the main releases. So I would say, no, they don't have blinders currently. And, we have evolved from, yes. So it started out, yes, maybe 30 years ago, and then has evolved to a no today. We don't have blinders.
I think we see that. Yeah, I think we all seem to agree. I think that was a great evolution of an answer there too, that kind of covered the whole gambit of everything too. Nice work, everybody.
Woof.
Yep, that was good.
I guess I would agree. I honestly don't have much experience on the weight and redemptions because I think because of all the way people talk about redemptions and maybe the way I trade cards, I try not to have, and I now collect mostly singles, so I don't really deal with redemption cards kind of ever in my collection. I only have one that I'm waiting on right now, and I guess it is a bummer. It is a bummer. But especially when it's caught up in when something external, like, the winter's coming and there's this Panini lawsuit happening and we're not really sure, like, will that ever happen? Who knows? So we'll wait and see. I guess that is a bummer, having redemptions. It would be great, I think. We've also seen people in the Card Foundation Facebook group, Kim, the Card Queen, is really struggling with the redemption issue from Upper Deck, which does not even sound like traditional Upper Deck service. And I'm really curious to know what's going on there with this huge long wait on this MJF card when we've seen other MJF cards out there too. I understand that you got to get the product out, so you got to squeak a redemption in, but it would be really great to get as little as possible. Or I don't know. It's a bummer. It is a bummer. Total bummer.
I would agree with Graeme. I think it's a speed bump and a bruise on collecting. I feel that, no fault of Fanatics, Topps, or Upper Deck to a point, but I feel like they're doing a million things at once, and they're like, all right, well, we're going to go to this event or this game to get stickers or, get everything signed. But then after they make that, maybe that initial and a follow-up, it's just off the radar because, oh shoot, we've got to get to the next one. This is all speculation, but I feel that it falls behind. And when it does, you get these redemptions that aren't redeemed, and then a new product comes out. So the focus is not on Chrome or not on Select, but Immaculate's coming out. We've got to get this. Like it's such a revolving door that move on, go to the next one, and then everything gets forgotten. And the small 1 to 2 voices, or maybe 100, depending on, like, waiting on one redemption, are not a priority when Immaculate's coming out and we need to hit all these people with on-card autos or, Upper Deck, same thing. So if they would just put more emphasis and, maybe a little more giddy up in their step, it wouldn't be as bad, but it is definitely a dark part of current collecting.
Yeah, this is an interesting topic. Unfortunately, I do think that, it is a necessary part of the hobby right now, just because of how everything is set up in terms of how many athletes and how many wrestlers and how many people you have out there in checklists and signing, is it possible to get everybody done before a set could actually come out and then those cards inserted into packs and then put out to the public? I really don't know. We have conversations about that at CFP all the time, because to me, and this is my opinion, I think that in wrestling, I don't know if the wrestlers take the signings as seriously as maybe some other sports athletes do. So in other sports, football, soccer, basketball, whatever, baseball, these contracts that they have with, Fanatics or Panini or whoever it is, I feel like they are taking a little bit more seriously in terms of their signing. You have guys like Tom Brady signing, having live autos in sets. Tom Brady is arguably a bigger athlete than, someone like MJF is at this point. He's getting there, but, arguably Tom Brady is one of the most famous people in the world. And if he has time to sit down and sign live cards, why are they not getting some of these wrestlers in there? And I think it's just an education thing. We've heard a lot of stories over the years of redemptions being lost at a live event at Raw that was supposed, cards were delivered to wrestlers that weren't returned. The 98 Tops WCW NWO set that happened where guys just kept their redemptions, never sent them back, so it's like, why is this happening in wrestling? And I think it's, people just need to be educated better, and what they're signing and what they're signing for, and, what value they're bringing to the hobby, having live autos in their sets. Having spoken to different wrestlers in the past about, their signings, they talk about the experience of, oh yeah, we were just given a sheet, we were told to sign this, no one really knew, like, what was going on. I don't even know what a trading card is, who makes it, whatever. And then you had a handful of people that were like, oh yeah, no, I put inscriptions in there because I know what this means to the collector. So there's a handful of people that do get it. And then there are people that are just, they probably would want a little bit more education as to what they're signing, what it's for, and what it means to some of the fan base. So, to kind of circle back to the question, I think, yeah, it's a detriment to the hobby in the sense that people are not getting their redemptions back, and that's a problem. They're spending a lot of money on cards. They're getting a redemption, they're redeeming it, and then they're not getting the value that they should have had. In case like when you brought up with Kim with that MJF card, she's been waiting over a year for a card that, whether it's going in her PC or she's selling it, that's a big deal. And, I think that's a problem that does need to get addressed. If there are going to be redemptions in card sets, they need to be redeemed, and they need to be redeemed within a certain time frame.
Worst?
I wouldn't say the worst.
No, I'd say quality control is the worst right now. You can open something and your blaster's got, raised, the whole section's got a dinged corner or an off print or things like that. I would say misprinting is the worst right now, but redemptions are up there.
It's a fair statement.
I would say another one of the worst parts of the hobby too is, if you're doing like a trade in a Facebook group and you get screwed, like you spend money and like someone doesn't follow through on the trade, or someone really duffs the whole thing. Cause I know that I've been PCing specific things and I gave up on them because some things went south in weird trades, or people didn't send the card or something like that. Like it was super weird. So I think that for me, that's the worst aspect, because that puts a real sour taste in my mouth. I understand like and I think this conversation too was great to kind of put some understanding behind why wrestlers might not, why there might be more redemptions in a wrestling product too. I think it kind of puts a big scope on everything. But for me, I guess it's not the worst aspect. The worst aspect is if like a hobby friend, or not even a friend, but someone like in a group, in a Facebook group, like a local group that I would be in, or someone pops in with amazing cards and duffs a bunch of us, a handful of us, and then heads out. Maybe we didn't do our due diligence or something, but it's like, you get that like, all right, I'm not going to do some trades for a couple weeks until I get itchy again, kind of thing. Definitely. I think that's the worst part for me.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I think retail is good for the hobby, especially in the day that we're living in now, where hobby boxes are just not affordable for everyone, and people still do like to rip. I think over the last year, opening packs of cards has had this like negative connotation in the collecting space of like, oh man, oh it's more of like gambling, or it's whatever. But at the end of the day, I think we all love trading cards. We all would want the opportunity to open them and rip them and pull something for ourselves. There's nothing better than getting a pack of cards, ripping it open, and getting something that you want. I'm sorry, that feeling will never get taken away, and it'll never be diminished. And I've definitely been a victim of the current situation of where hobby boxes are just way too much money. All of us have houses and families and everything going on, and $400 for a box of cards to get an autographed card that's worth $10. It's tough. And we all have different PCs, and we're all trying to build the PCs up and everything. So I think that's where retail comes in as a perfect spot within the hobby where someone could still open a pack of cards, especially kids. Kids need to be given the opportunity to open packs in this hobby, because that's how it's going to continue to grow. When we were all kids, we were all had the opportunity to open packs of cards at an affordable rate and, build collections, build sets. And I think the more that these hobby boxes continue to go up, you're going to take that aspect away from kids in the hobby because they just can't afford it. The adults are struggling.
Mhm.
So, I think retail definitely has an important place in the hobby, and I would love to see it grow. I would love to be able to go into a Target, a Walmart, or wherever at any point and buy a box of cards that I want to open and enjoy it. So definitely agree with that.
I'm going to slightly disagree. I think we're in an okay spot, but I also recognize I'm in a spoiled situation. There's some really great local card stores in the area that I can go to that are pretty reliable resources to pick up a pack, pick up a box, pick up a blaster, and they often have better prices than Walmart or other major retailers like that. Because also, when it comes to distribution, it really blows in Southern Ontario, Canada. For instance, we still have Mae Young action figures hanging on the shelf. Like, we don't, it's so far behind, things are so far behind, it's really ridiculous. And when cards come out, they get scalped. They're still getting scalped so fast in some of these Walmarts. Like, the whole section gets cleared out. I don't know what's happening there. But I think that's part of the fun of the hobby that I've found is you discover these brick and mortar shops, these local shops that are owned by another hobby enthusiast, and you get to go and embrace their store. You get to learn more about other cards. They often have other frequent deals. And I think, I don't know, maybe it's how I've heard this is how sometimes it works with other product, that they'll distribute more to the hobby stores to embrace the community that way. I don't know if that's what's happening. Or it's just the nature of the store because they only deal with sports cards. But I think the distribution is totally fine. I kind of like that the idea that wrestling cards does have an overall lower print run, I think, compared to other sports. So I think it's appropriate for the size of audience right now, and will continue to grow the collectability. So I'm okay with where it's at.
I would agree with the statement. On the retail side, I can say honestly, for the past 3 or so years, that I will see blasters once for a series, maybe twice, and that's hitting 5 or 6 stores. And it's one of those, you either have the money at the time to buy the blasters or you don't. So I would like to see, and they always come in 6, 8, or 10. Like it's like clockwork, and it's an all or nothing type thing. And then it's like, oh, well, there's 8 blasters at $30 a pop. That's $240. And to what Johnny said, like, I love ripping it, but there's a good chance I'm going to get smoked. So I would like to be, at least on the wrestling side, see more of a continued distribution to where every time I go in, there's something to choose. Because it's an all or nothing game for me in Ohio. And, while not the biggest fan of the newest AEW, like, I don't even see those. I'd like to at least have an option, and then maybe a couple options to choose from. Oh, hey, there's select, metal, oh, this just hit. Like, I would like to see more of that instead of a massive retail dump, and you may see it one more time depending on your timing and when you get there. But then it's all picked up and, hey, here's the next set, and then you've completely missed out on everything. Also, my hobby shop will maybe get one box of everything of each set that comes out, because it's just not basketball, football, baseball, Pokemon. Like, it's just so far on the list that, yes, they make a profit from it, but the times that they do decide to, hey, we've got an uptick in wrestling. They're sitting on 2 boxes of Allure right now, still at $300 a pop, because they bought it when Allure came out. Or not Allure, pardon me, Spectrum. They have 2 boxes of Spectrum and one of last year's base AEW, because they decide to expand on the wrong product, which also hurts us, because when you go in, you're like, and they won't even open the Allure, or I keep saying Allure, the Spectrum boxes, because if they can't sell the box, like, nobody's going to buy the packs either. So I would like to see more distribution, or every week, just to where when I go there, I have more of an option to choose, instead of, well, do I just drop a bucket of money right now because it's right in front of me and I know I'm not going to see this again for another 60, 90 days till the next retail release.
I think I'm the only one that kind of disagrees with it, and I think I have that asterisk of being super fortunate with a good handful of hobby stores that appreciate wrestling, and they're also wrestling collectors, so I think that really helps. So I'm willing to hop on the other side of the fence on this one, because I recognize too, also hearing stories of our friends from ATP, sometimes how hard it is to get cards and everything so I understand. I'm super lucky because Hamilton and Brantford, Southern Ontario, Canada, frickin' loves wrestling. All right, home of all ego, Ethan Page. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the problem is the accessibility. It's like what Travis said. There are weeks where you can go in and find nothing. There's weeks that you find a bunch of stuff. A lot of the hobby shops, at least in my area, I'm not as lucky. They will stock a ton of retail product, but it will be upcharged because they're buying it at the same rate as everybody else is, and they got to get their markup on it too. So it's you don't find AEW flagship in Target because your local Target just got bought up by your local card shop and he's putting $10 a box on it. That's a problem, and that needs to stop, in my opinion, because you're taking the opportunity away from real collectors or kids or whoever to go into a Target and buy a box so you can make an extra $10. You have the ability to buy hobby product SKUs. Stick to that and try selling that, because box stores can't do that. So there is a bit of an issue in the States. And I love what you said about Graeme. I love what you said about the ATP stuff, because it's an absolute shame that our friends over there can't get product, whether it's hobby, retail, or whatever. It drives me nuts that our friends can't open a blaster or a hobby box, or they have to wait till things go on e-pack. It's ridiculous. And I would love to see that change this year. So
I'll wrap it up and be in agreement. Make it, we want to spend money. We will spend money. Give us the opportunity to do so.
Perfect.
The question is, there is no logo man in WWE Panini?
Yeah.
Now, I have to kind of clarify. The logo man, that just means like the NBA logo patch on a card.
The patch.
But the logo man is it from a licensed jersey at the same time? Like a worn jersey, or does it just happen to be an NBA patch?
Most times game worn, if I'm correct, right, Johnny?
Yeah, so I feel like That only exists. It does exist, but only on a few cards, right? Aren't there only a few cards where you might catch a WWE logo from a ring worn piece of gear? I think. Well, P Bear just. Well, that was a Topps card. This is a
One
confusing
of ones
question.
typically.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, can I? I'm gonna. Let me just. I got a slop bucket in the eyes over here. I'm gonna take a timeout ringside for a second.
I mean, wrestling is just different. It's a different aspect of the hobby than everything else is. You know, obviously these guys are not wearing jerseys, they're not wearing game worn equipment, they're not wearing helmets or pads or bats, or using bats or ball. It's just different, you know. But I think Panini did a good job with including that, you know, WWE logo in the one of ones. I think Immaculate did it, Impeccable did it. We saw it a couple of times throughout the Panini run where they included that WWE logo. And I think AEW even Upper Deck started doing it. They included an AEW logo patch in their one of ones. So they are trying to do their own little version of a logo man, even though it may not be a game used or a game worn or a match worn item. It's still, I think, a pretty cool piece. And listen, I'll be on this side forever. Anything is better than just a black or white or pink piece of cloth. So whatever they're trying to do, I'm all for it.
I don't think that there is a specific logo man, like Johnny said, because you'll get the logo that's off of the back part of like in between your shoulders where they put the WWE logo, and that's very close. I wish shirts, if anybody remembers, were like they were maybe 8-10 years ago, where on the bottom part of your shirt they had that little sewn in patch. I think that would be as close as we could get to a logo man, because it is an embroidered patch where with your size and the washing instructions. But also to hit off what Johnny said, they and I've never thought of it this way, but there's not a specific WWE jersey or, you know, patch sewn in from the costume designers on every singlet, jacket, anything like that. So they don't have a way to have a quote unquote, oh man, Woody's going to hate this, a true rookie or a true logo man. But Panini made more steps to work within their means with the shoulder in between the shoulder back swatch. So if we're going to take this literally, I'll say no, there is no specific, or wait, there is no specific logo man. I don't know if I'm agreeing with it, but my thought is there is no exact logo man, but they're doing what they can. So I'm going to throw the slop bucket back to Graeme, and come on in and take us home, buddy.
Oh my gosh, that slop. It got deep, and my sonny came driving in here in a car and just threw a slop bucket at me randomly. Like, who knew? Who saw that coming? I think so. I feel like the way that we're talking about this, and this is what I was thinking, because I was like, I think there's WWE logos on cards, and that's why I was asking all those questions at the start. I think that technically counts as the logo man for WWE because of what Travis is saying now that I have a better education of what a traditional logo man is. I wonder if it goes to, it's that whole true word, like true rookie, true logo man, and everything like that. I think when we look at wrestling, this is currently considered the logo man until they do the next evolution of that, which would be, imagine Fanatics got on top of something like this, or someone got on top of something like this, and they did introduce some sort of professional stamp tag on all of the ring gear that's used in WWE, and they started to collect that more and embrace it more in the cards and everything. That would be kind of interesting. I know we just talked about the possibility of getting all the wrestlers to sign cards and appreciate it. This might be even harder than that. So I think it's an interesting thing to continue to debate. I think that currently where we sit, I'm going to agree with what Johnny's kind of saying, that WWE logo that we've seen pop up, or how AEW did it as well, that is currently the wrestling reflection of the logo.
Check me out on Twix, X, Twitter, Instagram. I'm all over the social media, so check me out there.
Yeah, you could find the podcast that I currently co-host or triple host or whatever each and every Thursday. Card Foundation Podcast. We're on all the major platforms: Google, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. But I'm not, just a podcaster for CFP. I also, jump on stuff like this, part of the Wrestling Card Alliance. You could find me on Instagram I think I'm just John Tancredi on Instagram. That's kind of where I have more of my, personal opinions when it comes to trading cards. But if you're just looking for some, cool wrestling content, at Filthbomb Wrestling on Instagram. We're on X. We don't really use it as much. And check out the pod every Thursday.
If you are looking for a daily dose or a weekly dose or whatever you call it, if you're looking for a dose of nerdy wrestling card content, make sure you check out Card Foundation Podcast. I'm a regular listener. I'm part of the Patreon Facebook group where there's really fun times, super supportive and fun too. And also check out Squared Circle Relics, same kind of thing. Great Facebook group, a little bit of naughty fun, really enjoyable time. Check out both podcasts on your favorite podcast app. If you like collecting wrestling cards, you can follow me on Instagram at Wrestling Card Wizard. Check out me as I'm redocumenting my PC right now, Bianca Belair, autograph cards, and just awesome cards in general. And make sure you subscribe to this channel, the Wrestling Card Alliance, where we hope to produce maybe more content. This is currently the last episode of the run-in, but make sure you hit subscribe, the notify bell, leave some comments below so you can stay tuned for what's coming up next.